I know that if you don't look at someone while you're talking to them, it's pretty rude, but I'm kind of in the middle of something. So I'm in the third year of my PhD at Melbourne, and when I'm not, doing this, my work, I spend a lot of time on the internet. And because I'm interested in science in general, I often spend a bit of my time on YouTube watching science videos. Science things you can see on YouTube generally fall into one of two categories. There's the basic sort of learning of science, like you would do in school or undergrad. What is an enzyme, how does gravity work, that sort of thing. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that is really good for that. There are people explaining things very well, and it's really interesting. But then there's other science-related things, where someone just tells you about sort of fun science facts, interesting discoveries, or interesting ways to describe things that we know about. But very rarely do I see anyone actually doing scientific research or talking about how those discoveries are made. But I couldn't help wondering, maybe people care about the methodologies and how science is discovered. So I thought, you know what, I'm doing scientific research. Maybe I can show people. So I thought I'd make some videos where I show you scientific researchers doing their work and talking about what it is they do. And I want to discuss scientific research and the methodology and why we do things the way we do and how we think and the complexities of the system. So I'm just going to make a series of videos where I show you science being done, research being done. And I'll tell you other things that I think are interesting about the world of research science. And remember earlier when I said I'm doing a PhD? What you see right now is not staged. This is work that will hopefully end up in my thesis and might get me a publication and, a career. So first I'm going to tell you about what I'm doing now. Cell biology. A cell biologist spends their days growing cells in a dish and then running experiments on them. And these experiments can tell you about things like how disease works or how a cell works, and give us ideas of how we might better understand biology and diseases so that we can treat them better. We grow cells in dishes that look like this. The cells are grown as a single layer adhering to the bottom of the dish. They grow in a solution that we call media, which is basically sort of mostly water filled with nutrients that the cells absorb and use to live. The differences between cell biologists is basically what cells they work on. Inherently, the job is always the same. Cell biologist spends most of their time replacing the media that cells grow in. The media is filled with nutrients that the cells absorb, and then the cells excrete waste into the media, so you have to replace it fairly often. The type of cell biology I do, I have to do this almost every day. So I'm generally in the lab at least 6 days a week. Oh no, go back, go back. This is what a cell biologist does every day. This is what I'm going to show you in all my videos. You're just going to have, hours of footage of watching me do this. That'll be fun, won't it? Most cells don't actually like growing on plastic. So what we first do is coat the bottom of the dish in a sort of gel-like layer that the cells then like sticking to. This is called a matrix.
It's quite serious at the moment.
It is very serious. Oh no, I dropped the thing. I want to be funnier, but I don't know how. We work in this fume cabinet with the cells because bacteria and pathogens and viruses in the atmosphere kill cells very easily, especially the kind just growing in a dish. An organism like you or me has an immune system that can stop these things from killing our cells, but a single culture of cells in a dish don't have that. So we have to protect them from the atmosphere by dealing with them in a fume cabinet like this. Cells, like the ones in your body, like existing at 37 degrees Celsius, which is why we keep them in these incubators here. Just so you know I'm not having you on and there are cells in this dish, I can show them to you. If I put them under this microscope, you can see them on this little monitor here. So these cells in particular like growing in clusters. So you can see these big clumps of cells here, where there's probably about 100 or 200 cells in that little clump there. And I can zoom in so that you can see these structures of the cells a little better. And they're all different shapes and sizes, but they are still all the same cell type. Let's find an individual cell. Just so you get an idea of the difference between clumps of cells and individual, that is an individual cell. So that's the basics of cell biology and what a cell biologist does. Next time I want to show you a completely different scientific field, but for now, I gotta get back to work. Does it sound weird when I say my name is Stephanie? I think it does.
Yeah, I don't know when you're going to introduce your name.
Yeah, neither do I. Oh well.